cold wind whispered through the graveyard as the little girl clutched a worn teddy bear to her chest, her eyes swollen from hours of crying. Her father's coffin had just been lowered into the ground, the last handful of earth thrown on top, sealing away the only person who had ever truly loved her. She stood there, small and trembling, as her stepmother sneered from behind, her voice sharp like broken glass. "You're not my responsibility anymore. Get out." The words cut deeper than any knife, and before the mourners had even left the cemetery, the child was shoved into the cruel world, alone, unwanted, and broken-hearted. The girl's name was Emily, just 9 years old. Her father, Daniel, had been her entire world, raising her after her mother died when she was a baby. Though he remarried, his second wife, Victoria, never treated Emily as family. For years, Emily endured cold stares, harsh words, and empty dinners where she was ignored. Still, her father's warm smile gave her strength. But with his sudden passing, that fragile safety shattered, leaving her at the mercy of a woman who had always seen her as a burden. Emily walked slowly from the graveside, her tiny shoes sinking into the wet soil, unsure where to go. Her stepmother pulled up in the car, rolling down the window just long enough to say, "Don't follow me. The house isn't yours anymore." Then she drove off, leaving Emily standing in the rain, her teddy bear soaking with every drop. Her challenges came quickly. She had no money, no relatives she knew, and no place to stay. That first night, she sat on the steps of the closed church near the cemetery, hugging her teddy as hunger gnawed at her stomach. She whispered to herself, "Daddy said I'll never be alone. He said someone will always look out for me. Please, someone." And then fate intervened. A sleek black car stopped in front of the church. A tall man in an expensive coat stepped out, his eyes drawn to the shivering child. He knelt down and asked gently, "Why are you sitting here all alone in the rain, sweetheart?" Emily's lips trembled as she answered, "My daddy, gone, and she told me I don't have a home anymore." The man's expression hardened, but not at her. His eyes glistened with anger at the cruelty she had suffered, but his voice remained soft. "Your father was Daniel Carter," she nodded. A heavy silence followed before the man whispered, "He saved my life once. He was my best friend when we were young, and now I'll be yours." That man was Jonathan Reeves, a self-made millionaire who never forgot where he came from. Years ago, Daniel had pulled him from a car wreck, giving him a second chance at life. Jonathan had searched for ways to repay him, but Daniel always refused, saying, "Just be a good man, that's enough." Now, seeing Daniel's little girl abandoned, Jonathan knew this was the moment he was meant to act. Jonathan took Emily into his home, a mansion filled with warmth, laughter, and safety. But the challenges didn't vanish instantly. Emily struggled to believe she was worthy of love again. She would wake up in the night crying, terrified that Jonathan too might leave her. She hesitated to eat at the long dining table, whispering, "I don't want to cause trouble." Jonathan sat beside her, gently lifting her chin. "Emily, you are never trouble, you're family now." Yet the past wouldn't let go easily. One day, Victoria appeared, furious that Emily had found refuge. She accused Jonathan of stealing her husband's inheritance and demanded Emily be returned. Jonathan stood firm, his voice like thunder. "You left her to suffer in the rain. You forfeited any right to call yourself family. Emily stays with me." Victoria stormed away, but Emily watched with wide eyes, realizing for the first time that someone was truly fighting for her. The healing was slow but beautiful. Jonathan enrolled her in school, where she found friends who cherished her kindness. He encouraged her talents, drawing, singing, and even public speaking, reminding her that her father would be proud. On Father's Day, when she quietly placed flowers by Daniel's grave, Jonathan knelt beside her, saying, "He gave you life, and I'll make sure that life shines as bright as it was meant to." Years later, Emily grew into a confident young woman, strong not because her life was easy, but because she had survived the storms. She often shared her story, inspiring others who felt abandoned or unloved. She would always end with the same words, "Family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who choose to stand by you when the world pushes you away." The story of Emily reminds us that kindness has the power to rewrite destinies. One act of compassion can turn despair into hope and brokenness into strength. Jonathan stepped in when Emily needed him most, and because of that, she found not only a home, but a future worth fighting for.